Hello and welcome back to a new video. Today Crafty Masterman challenged the community to build a sequential combination lock that uses less than 30 blocks per digit. So I went ahead and made one that follows almost all of his requirements. But before we get into that, let's just see it in action. We can press some random buttons right here and nothing happens. But if we know that the combination is actually 1, 3, 3, 7, we can make this light turn on and play some music. This already shows that this combination lock can handle consecutive repeating digits like 2 3s in a row. It is also infinitely expandable within the render distance or whatever, and it can also reset in constant time regardless of its size. So yeah, the only real problem with it is that it is not quite silent, which is why I had to build it back there in order to be far enough away from the person pressing the buttons so that you would not hear anything. Even if you could hear something, if it's closer, it's still really hard to get any useful information because there is always a lot of dropper clicking, and it's not really possible for me to get any information out of those dropper clicks, but theoretically it might be possible to bypass the code if you can hear those and can distinguish between a single dropper clicking and 2 droppers clicking in the same game tick. So yeah, that's why it doesn't quite follow his requirements, but I still think that it's interesting and wanted to show it. So we just have this button panel here which merges all the signals into one signal strength wire right here. Then we go through the actual combination logic, which is really small, and just have a single signal going back here. I guess I will show you how to build it and explain a bit about how it works now. Okay, I'm going to build 3 modules to show you kind of how the start and the end of this thing works, and then the middle part can just be repeated to get as long of a code as you want. So this right here is pretty much the input block, and from this input we will take some hoppers. The first one actually has to go like this, and then the rest will just continue like this. Maybe I should have planned ahead how long this gets. Okay, I know we have to start with a comparator right here, and then we just repeat this pattern: redstone dust comparator, redstone dust comparator, like this, and at the end we just want to have a single redstone dust, and I think this should be it for 3 modules. We also want some barrels. Do I not have barrels in here? There. Along like this. So there's the first one, the second one, the third one, and a last one, and we don't need those hoppers. This is just where the signal gets sent along, and here we actually want a target block to redirect this redstone dust. This is basically just a recycling line for the items that this system uses. And yeah, now we just want to get those items up to the start where they get used. So we put 2 droppers like this, another dropper like this, and then droppers like this. A single hopper right here, and then we power these 2 droppers with a redstone torch. We put a rail or something that gives updates to observers down there, and an observer to power those 2 droppers. Now we only need to power these 2 droppers up here, and we do that with an observer right here. So this is basically the dropper where the first module really starts. And the next module is going to be there, and there's also going to be a module. And those modules always have 2 droppers like this. And that's it already. Then we just need a hopper in between, another hopper in between, and a barrel right here with hoppers facing into it, and another hopper there. So this is already the main loop. The items want to make it all the way through and then just return back to the beginning. Yeah. I think we can already test that. So we have this dropper right here, which has 1 item in it. This dropper has 1 item in it, so these 2 right here have 1 item in them. And this dropper just has a lot of items in it. It actually doesn't need that many, but for 3 modules, I don't know, like 6 items or something should be enough. But yeah, just some number of items in there. And then what happens if we send this a signal? I think I also want to add some system right here which helps us visualize what is happening right now. So I just want to put some comparators right here to tell us where the items are. And if I press this button now, 1 item gets moved all the way over here, because first this observer activates when this line gets powered, putting the item into the hopper, then it flows into this next dropper, and then when this comparator down there depowers, this observer activates again, moving the item from this dropper into the next dropper. But right now we are accepting every possible code, so we want to limit that, which we can do by putting some comparators here. And I think I'll just make them accept a signal strength of 3. So 3, 3, 3. These barrels actually output a signal strength of 4 right now. And that's important to accept an input signal of 3, because if this 3 gets subtracted from the 4 of this barrel, then it is left with exactly 1 signal strength, and whenever this is exactly 1 signal strength, the item is allowed to pass through. Okay, but how do we prevent it from passing through if it's not 1? First of all, we put some redstone dust here and a block here. So whenever this is a signal strength of 0, okay, let's do it like this. Put some hoppers in there like that. Whenever it is a signal strength of 0, the hopper behind this block is going to get no power anymore, meaning it can pull items out of this dropper up here, which means the items won't make it through anymore. So we can already do this. So whenever the input is higher than what we expect, this gets subtracted to 0, and this hopper can pull items out of the dropper above it, so the items don't reach the end anymore. Now we also put redstone dust like this. Whenever we get the desired signal strength, this will only have signal strength 1 and this will be 0, meaning this hopper up here will be unlocked. But if the input is too low, this will not go down to 1 and this will still be powered, locking this hopper. And whenever this hopper up here is locked, the item won't be able to pass further and instead will get picked up by this hopper once the line down here turns off and allows items to flow out of it into the barrel and back into the reset. So these two hoppers make sure that the signal strength of the input is exactly what we want. So if we input the signal strength 3 now, everything passes along. But if we input a signal strength of 4, all those items get pulled down and into the reset system. And just like that, if we have something with a signal strength that is too low, they also get pulled down and go back to the reset. One thing that is nice about how this works is that it actually doesn't rely on the delay of a button. So anything that is on for at least 8 redstone ticks, I think I timed it to, is fine. So you can have this stay on for as long as you want. So you can also just put a redstone block here and it flows to this point, and then you remove it and it flows one further. So this is just a really long pulse. And you can also do wrong signal strength like this. They disappear. And like this, they also disappear. So the only thing that is important is that the signal is on for at least 8 redstone ticks, and after that it stays off for at least 3 redstone ticks. So if you actually want this to be spam proof, you have to add a little system to make sure those things work. It's also not that great if you press multiple buttons shortly after one another, so the signal strength changes while it's still powered, but that shouldn't really mess anything up too bad. It might just be one digit where it's not clear what digit it received. So yeah, right now this does not fulfill Crafty's requirements fully because it is not silent, but either one of these two droppers has an item or both are empty. So whenever the observer activates, you hear one click or 2 clicks which are simultaneous, and I personally can't really hear much of a difference, but I don't know, maybe it's possible to hear that difference. So it's not quite pig proof or whatever against people with good ears, but like maybe someone can still use this for something or redesign something to make this silent. but I don't think it's possible in this space. So let's get rid of these comparators right here and have a look at this once more. So it has a width of 2, a height of 4, and each module takes 3 blocks. So this is 3 by 2 by 4, which is 24 blocks per digit. Yeah, this is pretty much everything I wanted to show. Thanks for watching and bye!